Hi and welcome back, and we have another optional space mission, which I'm going to do anyway. And you know, looking back at the footage, that's the thing I've realised, that all the space levels are optional. And I guess that's because maybe the developers knew that the space combat was more difficult than the ground combat. But I'm not one to turn down a challenge. Well, I am if the challenge is really hard. But what the hell, I'll give this level a shot and I'll manage to get it done.
As we fought our way into Kashyk's atmosphere, most of us believed that the only way we'd be getting off this planet was in a body bag.
Oh no, I fell from space. I mean, seriously, did you see that guy fall through space? Zero gravity. Speaking of which, you are about to see another example of gravity. Now, of course, we start off destroying these big whale-like ships, and of course, I go for the little bomber here, which is actually quite delicate. Now, something you can see there, if you press the circle button and a directional button, you sort of swerve. You know, I know some moves. But anyway, pro tip, obviously use that when you're being shot at to quickly dodge enemies. And speaking of gravity again, you can sort of see that something you should know about these bomber classes is that their blue bombs, their blue bombs are still affected by gravity, even though you're in space. And again, I mentioned this tactic before, but I think the best advice I would say is fly upwards and then fly downwards, because when you're flying downwards, your bombs just fall straight down, and thus it just makes it easier to aim. And of course, the bombs you can see there, they're sort of limited, and that's the thing I have to ask about, because I'm not sure how they work. Because you can see there's the number of bombs in the corner, it says infinity, and when you use the bombs, your stamina bar doesn't go down. So how are they affected? It's like sometimes you can fire one, sometimes you can fire many, and there's no indication of when, and that could be a real issue. But I guess I would say just don't only use them when you have to use them. Don't spam them too much. And of course we're above Kashyyyk, which is the home world of the Wookiees. But we'll be seeing a lot more of them in a moment. Oh, bombing missions. You know, the other space flying simulator I know of is of course Star Fox 64, which I think most people at least know about. You know, do a barrel roll, ha ha ha, and all that jazz. But no, that was a really fun game, and that's pretty much all the space combat I know about. Although granted, when it comes to this flying genre, I'm not sure what else you could do with it. I mean, you fly, you shoot like a gun weapon, and then you shoot like a bomb weapon. And that's pretty much it. You know, you have your fighter class and your bombing class. Not that I'm knocking the genre, but it doesn't seem you can do that much with it. I don't know, maybe have rescue missions or whatever, but yeah, again, here's the tactic I use. Come in downwards and then shoot bombs downwards. Yeah, go downwards, that's my tactic for everything. I do like how you fly into the sun, you get a solar flare. You know, it's a little visual effect, but it's appreciated. And again, I use the respawn trick because I can't be bothered. And again, look, he's falling downwards through space. I can only presume that they programmed this game, or they programmed the animations in mind that most battles would take place in an atmosphere, but I don't know. And again, at this point you have to fly in a bomber, but you can see there's a sort of decision you have to make here, because if you're flying using a pilot, your ship will regenerate, but you will probably need the Marines' firepower in a bit to get rid. Oh, oh, I'm all over the place, but you know what I mean. Like, the pilots will make sure you get there easier, but once you're there, you'll need the Marine. But of course, you can only pick one. So my advice to you is just pick the Marine and get good at flying. Just dodge. Unfortunately, that sort of ship moves like a tank. Yeah, because we all know the air in space makes bulkier ships harder to maneuver. Space, how does it work? Yeah, these fuckers. Now, like I said before, that enemies will drop health and ammunition, which is why I'm taking a few moments to kill them. You know, I'm never too busy, okay? Oh, you... Damn you, nameless droid.
Attention, all second stage pilots on deck.
And of course now I pick the Marine and I spare you my journey back, but anyway, I'm back here again. Here I am. Back again. You know, I do wonder, when doing this mission, would it have been worthwhile to capture one of their nodes outside? Then that way I could have respawned here, instead of taking the plane. I mean, taking the spaceship back every single time. You know, something I will say for these space levels is... You know, and this is something I don't really mind, but they do seem repetitive. Like, I'm doing the same mission here I did before. But then again, they do make it optional, so I can't really complain too much. Oh, and this one is harder because they give you a few more things to do. Yeah, and again, I was talking before about how enemies drop items. My advice to you is, obviously, pick them up strategically. Like, because, you know, like in this generation of games, if you pick up an item, you will collect it even if you don't need it, and you will end up using it. So when I'm playing this game, I'm making a note of what items have been dropped and where they are. You know, then that way I can just, you know, release the rockets here and then pick up an ammunition, reload, and then do it again, and what have you and what not.
Command has an easy mission, pilot.
You know, these bridges were really easy to get into. You know, a lot of people talk about, well, not a lot of people, but an argument I've heard is like the old Star Wars versus Star Trek debate, which whatever. I do like both franchises, by the way. But I always thought, if it's on land, of course that Star Wars is going to win because of the Jedi powers. But if it's on ships, I get the feeling that Star Trek would win, just because their ships seem more advanced. Well, I just walked in and bust up a bridge. If this was Star Trek, there would have been a force field there. Please, people. And then Worf would have been there. Then he would have tried something ineffectual. Now, at this point, I actually chose not to take the same ship I took here, because it's sort of half damaged. And I'm sort of looking for a ship that's got full health, essentially, so I can make it back. Anyway, I do decide on this rather spiffing looking Tri-Fighter. And by the way, Tri-Fighter, TIE Fighter. I see what you did there, George Lucas. But anyway, the bomber ship I came in with was far too damaged. So I thought, my advice to you is sort of pick up another ship. And another piece of advice, you can see what I'm doing here is sort of I go upwards, then approach the other ship downwards. And well, what I'm trying to say is, if you just fly in a straight line, the enemy fighters will probably pick you off. So I sort of flew round them. Fly around enemies. You see, I'm a tactical genius, really.
Well done, man. Now let's get down there and liberate Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk. You know, I do wonder if those words, like the planet names, do mean something, or if half of them are made up. Like, does Kashyyyk mean anything? I don't know. Like, I know, like, Planet Mustafar, you know, the name Mustafar does mean something. And also Count Dooku, you know, that's the Japanese word for poison, so I guess he doesn't pull these names out of his ass. So what does Kashyyyk mean?
My orders and turn planetward.
Anyway, with that done, we can now journey downwards onto the planet and finish this little battle off. Join me again for that. Thank you for watching.